Hello everyone, and welcome back to Starship Traveller. We are just beginning our adventure. Let's see where we are. We and the other members of the crew are regaining consciousness. Again, we hit the communicator and call for systems damage report. All systems appear to be intact until engineering reports that the warp drive engines are dead. The warp drive engines are dead. We are floating in space, but our drive reactors should be operational in 20 to 30 minutes, fortunately, so everything seems to be fine. Our navigation officer is bewildered. He cannot identify our whereabouts, and the computer reports we are in uncharted space. Science officer Tommy B has run an event analysis, and we appear to have gone through the black hole through a dimension warp, and we are now in what seems to be a parallel universe. After some delay, we regain warp drive. Long-range scan indicates 3 solar systems ahead, of which 2 may have intelligent life. Alright, so seems that we are pretty far away from home, which is scary on the one hand. On the other hand, we were told specifically that our mission is to explore uncharted regions of the world. I guess they didn't necessarily mean a parallel universe, but whatever, we roll with it. We still have a mission to complete. And now we have 3 options to choose from. We could simply go ahead, or set course for the life-bearing system on the port side, or the barren system on the starboard side. I don't want to visit barren systems. We definitely want to find something interesting, so it's anything life-bearing. Let's go on to the one on the port side. Let's not just simply, float ahead. We need to spice things up a bit. So let's see where that leads us. We travel ahead at sub-warp speed to allow our sensors to scan for information. They pick up a small object several thousand kilometers ahead and traveling towards us. We continue cautiously. At 5 kilometers, it stops. And we do likewise. Sensors report a Class D star cruiser, and we prepare ourselves with shields up. A message comes in and we transfer it to the screen. A reptilian face appears in a uniform of authority. As our translator tunes in, the alien's message becomes clear. I am Commander McTell of the Imperial Ganzik Confederation. You are an unregistered ship trespassing within Imperial territory. Identify yourself and state your purpose. This looks like a no-nonsense guy, and not a friendly one at that. Alright, so it seems they have already made first contact with some kind of alien civilization, an advanced one at that, interstellar at the very least. So we have a few options to choose from. We could comply with this request and identify ourselves. We could run an info scan on the Imperial Ganzik Confederation, or we could open fire. We are not in a mission to eradicate anything or anybody, so we are not going to be hostile whenever we can avoid it. We are going to only try to protect ourselves. We could try to run an info scan, but I don't think these guys are, so to speak, evil. And besides, the only thing they requested was an identification that is not suspicious or a cause for alarm. So let us identify ourselves and see how we go from there. We explain to the commander who we are and how we came to be in his territory. He is suspicious. He claims us as a prisoner and says he will escort us back to his starbase, where our story can be considered by his superiors. He instructs us to prepare our transmitter unit to receive his first officer, who will accompany us. Okay, this is really an unfortunate turn of events right at the beginning. We are telling the truth, and I don't think these guys are evil still, so they might believe us. But we don't want to be captured, and so we should try to get out of this situation and out of this encounter. But we also don't want to start a war with them, obviously. obviously they haven't done anything wrong. His reaction is totally logical and reasonable. So I am going to go with compliance in once more. I don't want to surrender the ship, and I don't want to visit their starbase or whatever. But we are still going to try to communicate with them, and since the only other option we have is to open fire, I don't want to do that just yet. Let's welcome this creature on board. We leave the bridge and await the arrival of the Genzigite in the transmitter unit. Within minutes, a body begins to materialize. The brown, scaly body of a reptilian being takes shape in front of us. We move forward to welcome the new arrival, but the creature snarls at us and draws a weapon. Oops. Through our translator, the Genzigite commands us to lead him straight to the computer room. Our ship is following the alien starcruiser through space. We are a little suspicious of this intruder. Okay, we could attack him, so we still have the option to become hostile to these creatures. But apart from some really nasty demeanor, we still don't know or I still don't think that they are overall evil. So I don't want to harm them as long as we can avoid it. I don't want to take him to the computer room either, because he could do harm there. In the very worst, best case scenario, you could still make us comply from that point on, so he could take over the ship, and that's something we cannot allow anybody to do, so that one is off the list as well. So the only option we have left is to attempt to sidetrack him by taking him to the lower deck, and that sounds like a great idea. As we buy time, we might come up with a solution for this conundrum. We engage the Genzigite in a conversation and give him a conducted tour of the Sylvana, stalling for time. We show him the cargo hold, shuttle dock, recreation area, and science laboratories. In the animal behavior lab, the alien shrieks as it sees an eagle chained to a perch. We deduce that on the Genzigite world, similar creatures are deadly enemies. Alright, that's pretty neat. We have now a few options. Now we learned something, and for the first time in this encounter, the initiative can be on our side. Well, we could ignore this incident, and take him to the computer room, which is the stupid solution here, I believe. We could capture the alien, but that's not a very smart idea, because the enemy starship is still ahead of us. Capturing the first officer will probably result in hostilities, and then we haven't gotten anywhere. But I'm curious what happens if we release the eagle and see how this creature reacts. We release the eagle. It flies from its perch and swoops down on the intruder. In abject terror, the alien swipes at the bird as it attacks. We watch on as the Genzigite attempts to dodge the laboratory's eagle. Alright, that was a very lucky roll of 2. That was the lowest possible roll. We have successfully passed our first attribute test, and we got lucky. The alien injures the eagle, but wails pitifully and begs us to call off the bird, which we do. Apparently, eagles are sacred to the Genzik culture, and injuring them is a mortal sin. We command guards to take the alien to the brig. Ha! Funny. We arrested him on charges of his own world's law. Calling up the Genzigite starcruiser captain, we relate the incident, threatening the life of our captive if our ship is not freed. The alien captain agrees to our terms, realizing that he cannot harm a ship carrying sacred animals. We take our captive to the transmitter unit and send him back to his ship. And now we are free to leave. That's awesome. We managed to avoid bloodshed, learn something about these creatures, and also proceed on with our quest without having to resort to any kind of unfortunate or uncomfortable solutions. Okay, let's return to the bridge. We probe ahead into space with our long-range scanners. On the fringe of our scan radius, to port is a small star with an orbiting solar system, which we may head for. Otherwise, we may increase speed to warp and head off into deep space. Well, we need to visit every possible planet. This is our mission anyway, and if we want to learn how we can get back home and how to get out of this situation, the more we explore, the better. So we do not want to avoid encounters and explorative missions. So let's set a course for the small star and see what it's about. As we approach the small star, our scanners pick up two planets in orbit. One is a large red planet, while the other planet is a dull blue. Okay? Well, I guess the dull blue planet sounds more friendly or more interesting. Let's see what that one is about. We increase speed towards the dull blue planet and start to orbit it. Short-range scanners indicate that it is a life-bearing planet. The most heavily populated area appears to be a city in the center of a large island. Okay, so we can now beam down to the city center or leave orbit and continue onwards, and this is an option we will often have, I presume, is to enter or beam down to the surface, or just simply fly away. But as I've said, we want to investigate as much of this part of the world as we can. So let's beam down. Now we need to assemble our crew for the dull blue planet with the city in the center of a large island. We can always take two of our crew members with us. So let me quickly check our stats. We have awesome 12 skills. Our medical officer is great, but we are not going to take her. In fact, as a standard setup, I would say that we would take one of our security officers, and he's going to be the primary target here, and the primary option. And either the science or the engineering officer. And the engineering officer is a bit better. He has a tiny bit higher stamina and 1 point higher engineering skills. So I think our standard crew is going to be Sultan and Andy. But we are still going to mix things up, obviously, in the future. Let's beam down. We materialize on the planet's surface and look around. We are in a wide street of some kind, which is completely deserted. Buildings of sorts line the street, and behind us a large building stands at the end of the road. The buildings are strange structures. They are a multitude of shapes and sizes, and all look incomplete. And also quite unfriendly. It's all concrete, I guess concrete or some kind of, unnaturally occurring, naturally not occurring material. So this looks more like a prison camp than anything else. It's really weird. Okay, nobody's here. Now we could continue down the road looking for signs of life, approach the large building behind us, or try one of the smaller buildings. Let's start with the smaller buildings. Hopefully we can clear them out more quickly. Let's see if we find anything worthwhile. We arrive at an odd-shaped building with rounded walls. Several strange and apparently meaningless sticks protrude from the front walls. The door is open and we cautiously walk inside. Slumped over a table is a bulky figure, apparently asleep. Our entrance disturbs the creature, and it raises its head, sees us, and springs to its foot. Rather than legs, it has a single stump, something like a tree trunk. It bellows loudly, and our translator does not translate. Alright, so we presumably walked into the habitat of this weird creature, and obviously it's not very happy about it. We could shoot it, but that's not really friendly, is it? Like, we beam down to a planet, enter a random house or dwelling, and as the inhabitant raises a word against this intrusion, we shoot it dead. So we're not going to do that. We can still hold up our hands to show that we mean no harm, which we don't. So this is the correct approach here. The creature settles down. It was apparently just surprised at having been woken from its sleep by complete strangers, and such ugly ones at that. That's right, we are ugly. It explains that it is a Timol, and seems to be quite a friendly creature. It hops around the room and offers us food and drink, which we politely decline, lest we get poisoned by its nourishing food. This planet is a settlement planet, populated by all sorts of different aliens, at first mainly creatures who could not bear their own home planets, and those that are highly adventurous. As the planet proved to be a pleasant place to live, with a gentle climate, it was not long before word spread throughout the galaxy of the promised land of freedom and equality, attracting many more settlers. The problem was that no one was allowed to assume a position of responsibility. Everyone was entirely equal. The result is that, after many years of settlement, the place is in utter chaos. Its inhabitants have not even decided on a name for the planet. We explain our own predicament to the Timol, how we are lost in a universe parallel to our own. The creature knows little about astronomy and interstellar travel, but suggests we head for the planet Kulmater, as its civilization is very advanced. We thank him for his information and leave, and yes, he gave us a planet's name, but not how we could get there, so that's not very helpful, I guess. In any case, this is a weird story for a planet, but I guess that's what it is. You just have to take it on face value. We could beam up, we are in no danger whatsoever, but I don't think we will be in any more danger if we head for the main building. If this place really is as this Timol described it to be, then we should not fear anything here really. So let's go to the main building at the end of the road, see what that's all about. Steps lead up to the large building. An inscription on the door indicates that it is a building of some importance. We knock, but there is no reply, although we can hear excited chatter coming from within. We try the door, it opens, and we step into a large entrance hallway. Several pairs of aliens of a variety of shapes and sizes cross the corridor in front of us, traveling purposefully from room to room and arguing excitedly with each other. A mysterious creature dressed in shabby blue robes notices us and shuffles over. Its face cannot be seen, but its eyes shine bright blue at us. It speaks and our translator interprets. "Ah! You look interesting. Where do you think the new medicine house should go?" We explain that we are new to these parts and that we would like to meet some person of authority, although we do know that there are no persons of authority here. The alien laughs promptly. "No one has authority here, my friend, ha ha ha. We are all equal. Come, let me show you around." We can go on a general tour or to the main meeting hall, and I hope that we can get some answers and maybe some assistance in the main meeting hall. We don't want to see how this building is structured or what the meaningless quibbles are, so let's go to the main meeting hall and see if we learn anything. We enter the main meeting hall and sit down in a crowded debating chamber, packed with aliens of all shapes and sizes. We ask our host, who is called Fioral, what is going on, and he informs us that the debate is to decide where to put a new medicine house, and that it has been going on for the equivalent of a year. As there is no central stage, we ask who is talking. "Everyone," says Fioral. "We believe in equality, and everyone has a right to speak, Captain Slayer." Apparently, debating here is unlike the method used on the Earth. Here everyone collects together and talks in little groups. As debaters move from one group to another, gradually new ideas spread throughout the whole of the chamber until everyone is thinking along the same lines. At this point, decisions get implemented. We ask whether this takes a long time, and Fioral agrees that it does. But it is the fairest way and prevents a convincing speaker from swaying the audience or establishing themselves as a leader. As the debate seems to be getting nowhere, we decide to leave. Fioral offers to take us to the travel and maps room. Now that's more like it. I presume we're going to see a lot more of these political or philosophical, ideological examples or in cultures and text in general. So we should be prepared for this. So far this might have been interesting. I'm not going to comment on this, but that's a neat idea. It's interesting that it's fair, but not very effective. And it was not useful for us in any sense of the word. So I think we should follow Fioral to the travel and maps room. Hopefully we pick up something there that these aliens may have gathered, something that could be of use to us. The travel and maps room is in a state of chaos. Everything seems to be in a state of chaos on this planet. Books and charts lie all over the floor and the various tables in the room. A small withered alien with a large head, blue skin and long fingers is asleep in one corner, but it wakes up as we enter. We ask first for maps of the planet, but can learn little from them, obviously, and it's not like we could use any of that to our advantage. While we wonder whether any of the star charts will be of use, the little man finds a large map and allows us to study it. Apparently, we are in a solar system around the sun Magnus. Apart from this one, there is only one other life-bearing planet in this system, called Trax, orbiting Magnus a little further out. Trax was recently devastated by war, and many of its inhabitants left to settle on this planet precisely. The other two nearest planets, although light years away, are Kulmater, which we have been told to visit, orbiting a purple sun, and Mechamon, orbiting a double star. No black holes are to be found on the chart. We thank the creature for his help and leave the building, bidding goodbye to Fioral as we leave. We head back outside to return to the Sylvana and beam up. Alright, so I conclude that our goal is to find our way back, and for that we need to find a suitable black hole. And our main purpose obviously is to gather items and, most importantly, information. So as you can see here, we have not found any items of any interest, but we already have gathered quite some information on this part of the world, of this parallel universe. Eagles are sacred to Ganzik culture. Kulmater is an advanced civilization. It orbits a purple sun. Trax was devastated by war, and Mechamon orbits a double star. So as we progress, we are going to learn more and more about our surroundings, which is, as I've said, our mission. And if we can relay it back to the Earth or to our own part of our own universe, then we would be in a situation where we can say that our mission was 100% successful. So let's aim for that. Back on the bridge, we set coordinates for our next journey. Another life-bearing planet orbits the same sun a little further out. That must be Trax, the red planet. We are going to visit it. Medical officer Diane tends to the wounded on board the ship. 2 stamina are restored to any injured crew members. We don't have crew members who are injured, fortunately, at least not yet. But after every planetary excursion, this text is going to welcome us, and as I've said, it's going to restore 2 stamina to any crew member, including ones that did not participate on the latest planetary visit, if they are wounded. So this is how we regain health. We could go directly to Kulmater if we wanted to, but since we're here, let's check out the other life-bearing planet, the one that's been devastated by war. We approach the large red planet at sublight speed and set an orbiting course. Scanning the surface, we find no trace of intelligent life, but signs of civilization, and a fairly advanced one at that, are apparent. As we observe the planet through our macro telescope, we see that the surface is covered in a network of roadways and canals, focused every so often at what must be a population center of some sort. Right. We try various radio frequencies, but there is no response. Okay, so hopefully this is not a completely dead planet, but it doesn't seem that it is in a constant state of war. At least it shouldn't be immediately dangerous. So let us beam down. Since we have no indication on what's awaiting us, we are going to use the same standard team. It might have been a better idea to take 2 security officers with us, but I'm confident Security Officer Andy is going to handle his duties well, and an engineering officer might come in handy in a war zone. We choose a location within what ought to be one of the planet's main population centers. We beam down, and when we rematerialize, we are in a deserted street. There is a ghostly silence about, and something is not quite right. The buildings around us and the vehicles lying derelict by the side of the road appear to be from quite an advanced civilization, but dust is thick on everything, as if there has been no activity here for many years. Okay, that's both good news and bad news. Good news is that we're probably not in any immediate danger, and bad news is that obviously we want to investigate and find other creatures, learn information, and the dead matter is not going to necessarily help us much out of that. Cautiously, we walk down the street. As we approach a junction at the end of the street, we hear a noise and stop. The others look at us quizzically and listen, but they can hear nothing. We creep forwards towards the corner and jump back sharply as a shape appears. "Visitors!" says a voice. The creature is roughly man-sized and wears a flowing white cape. "We have not had visitors for many years." We explain that we are from another planet, and the alien nods its hairy head. We ask whether it is possible to meet someone in a position of authority, and the creature considers a moment. And yes, this seems to be a member of an advanced civilization. Strange, unusual for sure, both physique and dress code. But at least it's not hostile. I'm happy with that. Suddenly, we hear a small click and a shrill buzzing noise, and the alien drops to the ground, scorched by a phaser blast from one of our party. We whirl around in disbelief. Now we get to select who shot, and it's going to be Andy, our security officer. What happened here? Andy looks proudly at the dead alien, and we order our other companion to hold him. Andy. Snatching his weapon, we demand to know why he fired at the alien. "Why?" he gasps. "If I hadn't fired, he would have killed you, Captain Slayer. Did you not see the weapon in his hand aimed at you?" We certainly did not see a weapon in the alien's hand, and neither did our other crew member. This is some weird place we're right in. Maybe we are hallucinating or something, because we heard noises that the other crew members did not hear, and once again Andy saw a weapon that was clearly not there. And it seems we killed an innocent alien for no reason whatsoever. Now, we can still beam the alien up to the ship to see whether anything can be done for it, so if it could still be saved, or at the very least we can study it. So let's do just that. Flipping our communicator, we instruct the ship to beam the alien back aboard so that the medical officer, Diane, can have a look at him. The alien disappears. We prepare to continue, but a message from the ship comes through. Apparently, the alien did not arrive. We confirm that it definitely left the planet. There is little we can do about it now, and we leave the problem with our transmitter crew. So, okay, maybe the alien is not transmittable? Question mark. Whatever, we have no other option but to continue exploring the planet, so let's do that. Turning the corner, we continue for several meters. A noise behind us startles us, and we stop. With a sudden chill of panic, we realize what the noise is. It is the multiple hammer sound of a pre-laser weapon. Someone, or something, is firing a machine gun at us. We drop to the ground and scream at our companions to do otherwise. As we all lie there with bullets flying over our heads, the other two look at us, puzzled. "Captain, why are we lying on the road?" says Sultan, standing up. To our amazement, he stands in the hail of bullets, completely unharmed. Gradually, the sound fades, and the others help us to our feet, looking at us in a most peculiar way. Okay, so I concur that we are hallucinating, or maybe there is some kind of illusion going on that targets specific people. Maybe there is a mind control device gone awry, or some kind of weird AI, whatever, but we cannot trust anything on this planet. I would like to leave, but we haven't found anything of use yet, and we cannot beam up anyway. So a little further down the road we come across a large building. I don't want to enter any buildings. This sounds dangerous. Let's continue down the road. Let's see where that leads us. Maybe we can learn something there. In the open I feel safer. We continue along the road. We are entering an area of some importance, judging by the nature of the buildings around us. We pass by a machine which appears to dispense newspapers, smash it open and take a copy. We cannot understand the language, but we take it with us to give it to the language lab on our return. That's a good idea. When we can analyze it in peace, we might learn a thing or two about this place. One particularly grand-looking building looks worth a visit, and we enter. Alright, so much for my plan of staying outdoors. Inside, all is still, but a voice at the entrance desks asks us who we wish to see. The voice makes us jump, but it is merely an electronic receptionist machine. So it's an automated little AI or something. We decide to start at the top and work down on the assumption that the most important offices will be at the top of the building. On the 4th floor we enter a room at which a figure sits slumped over a desk in front of a computer terminal. Cautiously we walk up to him. As we approach, it is apparent that he has long been dead. His skin is rotten and he smells unpleasant. We rock him backwards into his chair while we inspect the computer console. As we do so, his eyes flick open. The three of us spring back on guard with phasers drawn. He smiles a smile which, if it were not for his deceased condition, could almost be described as friendly, and we announce ourselves. He nods very slowly. His VDU flickers and now is active, speaking to us in an electronic voice. Symbols appear on the screen which mean nothing to us until we realize he's trying to help us choose a subject which he can provide information on. Immediately, we ask whether he can help us get home. After some moments, the voice announces that the differences in atomic frequency, a space warp is likely to open up on stardate 45 through a black hole. Thanking our host for the information, we contact the ship and arrange to be beamed up at once. Okay, so that's great. We have picked up a newspaper from this place, and we have learned that a space warp is going to open up on stardate 45 through one of the black holes. That's great information. Let's get out of this really weird place. Back on board, we announce our news to the crew. As the navigation officer sets the course, we remember the newspaper and pass it on to the language lab for analysis. Using our long-range scanner, we discover a purple star just within range and a small cluster of stars, some 2.3 light years off starboard. Alright, nobody got wounded, nobody got hurt, nobody died, and we gained some information. I think it would be a great time to sigh of relief, but before we do that, let's get out of here. We've been told to go towards the purple star, but I'm not going to do that. I'm pretty sure that the Timol did not lie, and that Kuhl Matter, the planet around this purple star, does contain an advanced civilization, but I'm not sure they can help us. So instead, let's go for a small star cluster. Hopefully it has more, it can provide us with more information that we need. We need to have adventures, unfortunately or fortunately, in order to obtain our goal, which is practically to find the black hole and the correct parameters with which to enter it in order to get back home. And I'm betting on this one that this will be a more useful path for us, so let's go for the small star cluster. As we approach, we cut engines. Switching to visual on the screen, we can see the small cluster in the distance. Suddenly, our navigation officer wheels round. "Captain!" he exclaims. "Meteor storm dead ahead! We are moving straight into it!" Okay, we could try evasive action or activate shields. Evasive action so suddenly might result in unwanted consequences. We have squishy cargo on board, not only the Eagle and Snowflake, but you know, humans as well. So this looks scary, but the Sylvana is a sturdy ship. Let's activate shields and see if we can get across this meteor storm. Unavoidably heading into the meteor storm, we sit tight and hope it will pass quickly. As we enter, the Sylvana rocks as the shields take blows from the pounding meteors. Suddenly, huge meteors hurtle towards our ship. Oops. 18 meteors are approaching the Sylvana. In this battle, the meteors get the first attack. Each meteor is destroyed whether it hits, misses, or is shot down. Survive to make it safely through the meteor storm. Okay, so here's our first space battle, and the way this specific one works is that the meteor has a stamina point, so to speak, a shield of 18, and no matter what it does, it's gonna lose 1. It can hit us or miss us, but it's gonna lose 1, and when we successfully hit it, it loses 2 additional ones. So hopefully this will be over quickly. If it hits us, it causes us 2 shields damage, and if our shields are off, then we die. And the way space combat works is really simple. We roll 2 dice, and if the result is lower than our weapon stat, then we hit. And it's a back and forth, so it's not like the standard battle system in Fighting Fantasy Systems. This is a brand new one, just for this, introduced for this book. And the meteors hit first. I'm not going to use the dice because here we can actually avoid using dice. So we're going to use quick combat, which takes us through step by step of the battle. And the first one fortunately missed. The meteors rolled a 10, which is higher than their skill weapons attribute, so they missed. And as I've said, they're gonna lose one point of shields or stamina every time that they roll, whatever happens. We were lucky, we rolled a 4, that's within our parameters, so we hit it and we caused it 2 more stamina damage or shield damage, and it was just repeated. The meteors missed and we hit. So far everything is going in our way, and still continues to do so, Now, unfortunately, these meteors hit us. We suffered 2 points of shield damage. They also suffered 1 point of shield damage, as usual. I'm not afraid. I'm pretty sure we'll get through this. I'm just concerned that we will lose too many shield points to these meteor storms. Yeah. Unfortunately, we lost half of our shield points, and we are 1 shot away from defeating them, and we have won. The final shot decimates our opponent, which was a bunch of incoming meteors. Our ship has managed to destroy the meteors. The Sylvana's weapons blast the gigantic meteors, shattering them into space dust. With the meteors no longer a threat, we sail through the meteor storm and proceed to the small star cluster we were originally heading for. Awesome. I think we're safe now. We're far from any planet whatsoever. We've just passed a dangerous spot in space, and I think this is the perfect time to sit back a bit, relax, reflect on our past adventures, contemplate on what we have experienced and learned, and prepare for the difficulties, the trials and tribulations ahead. And with that, I'm going to make the cut of the video right here. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.